안녕하세요 여러분, Emsa입니다. Those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, you guys know that I usually upload my weekly Korean segments on Thursdays, but this week is special, and I decided to introduce a completely new segment where we learn Korean through breaking down K-pop lyrics. But don't worry, that doesn't mean that our weekly Korean segment is coming to an end. I want to use these two segments interchangeably and together with each one so that you guys get a fuller, more fun and more interactive picture. So today I decided to delve into a topic that I actually mentioned in that K-pop lyrics breakdown video, but I didn't go too deep into the subject because I didn't want to make the video too long. So today I will be talking about the word 니가. So whenever foreigners encounter the word 니가, they usually have three issues: the pronunciation, the spelling, and understanding how to use this word in a sentence. So let's start with pronunciation. When we're talking about the word 니가, which means you, we cannot ignore another word that is very similar to it, which is 내가, which means I. When we look at these two words and we read them the way they're actually supposed to be written, consonant by vowel, it would sound as 내가 and 내가, because the 에 in here and 에 in here technically sounds very, very similar. I would even dare to say that they sound the same. I've heard very mixed opinions. I've talked to many Koreans about it. Some of them have told me, yes, there is a difference. Others have told me, yes, there was a difference, but it was many, many years ago. Now it's gone. It's just 에 and 에. What we see here is that one word is pronounced 니가 for some reason and another one is 내가. Why? Why is that happening? Well, honestly, I don't have a completely educated answer for you. I just have my own personal speculations after learning Korean and trying to figure out why things are the way they are. And basically, in daily conversations, we can't really see how certain words are written, and if they're spelled the same way, how exactly do we know what the person is speaking about? Of course, we can know from the context, and Korean is a very contextual language. However, words like you and I are very, very similar in a way, because even if I'm talking about myself in a conversation, I can easily switch to talking about the other person in that same conversation. So having the word for I and you be very similar can get quite confusing. So that's why I think Koreans usually pronounce this word as 니가 and this one as 내가, you and I. Let's say this fulfills our curiosity about how to pronounce 니가 and 내가, but then comes the spelling, and we actually need to know which one of the A's, the I or the ai, yes, that's how Koreans actually call them, is going to be used for 니가 and 내가. So if you look at this 에, if you separate the two vertical lines, it kind of looks like an A and then E put together, and this one looks like an A and E put together. So that's why they're usually called AI or AI. And I don't know if I've told you this, guys, but when it comes to language learning, a lot of the times memorization plays a huge role. So we have two options of learning the spelling of 니가 and 내가. We either memorize it or we try to understand it. But there's actually another way. You can memorize certain parts of it, but then you can also understand where things come from and then be able to make these logical connections fast enough to then be able to read and write 니가 and 내가 however you want. So let's try to do that. When it comes to pronunciation, I just try to remember it. You is 니가, there's going to be a sound I, there's going to be a sound 내, 에, 내가. But then the spelling gets really confusing because the 에 and the 에, they look so similar, and then I don't know which one of them sounds like I or like 에, so it gets so confusing. So what I do is I then try to think about the other ways to say you and I in Korean, and those are 너 and 나. So when we look at 너 and 니가 and 나 and 내가, we can notice something very, very similar. To form 니가, you need to put an I next to the 어 and then add 가. And for 내가, you need to do the same thing, and then you end up with 니가 and 내가. Does that make sense? Do you guys see the 어-I and the 아-I? I got so excited when I figured that out for the first time. So basically, if I have this pre-existing knowledge that I've memorized, learned, whatever, of what 너 and 나 are, when I encounter 니가 or 내가, I can look and be like, oh, this is I, 너. It must be you. And then because I've already memorized that I sound is you and 에 sound is I, 니가 is you, 내가 is I, 너, 나, we got it. On a side note, did you know that some people actually spell 니가 as 니가 with an I? However, they mostly do that on the internet or like between friends in a chat. They will never do that in official correspondence or emails or any kind of text that is remotely sophisticated. So yes, you can write it like this to just help you remember it, I guess, but you really do need to remember the spelling of 니가 and 내가 in the right way. Whew, now that we've hopefully dealt with spelling, I know this can be a bit overwhelming, and this is just my way of remembering these. You are more than welcome to come up with your own ways, with your own mnemonic devices, but I thought I might as well share my way in case it will help you. But what do we do when we actually want to use this in a sentence? Let's start by comparing the use of 너 and 네가, or 나 and 내가. Let's pretend I want to say that I like this chair. I would say 나는 그 의자 좋아해요. In the most correct way, I would say 나는 그 의자를 좋아해요, because of object marking particles. So here I'm using 나 because I am the subject of the sentence. I'm going to be doing the action. I'm going to be liking the chair. 나는, 는 particle. Some people call it topic marking particle, some people call it subject marking particle. I don't care how you call it, just remember that if 는 is placed next to a noun or pronoun, that noun or pronoun is going to be doing the action, the overall action of the sentence. But let's say I want to say that I like the chair that you are sitting at. So there's two actions and there's two people that are going to be doing them. There's me liking something and there's you sitting on something. So what do? I can't use the same version of you and I when referring to these two cases. I have to use different ones. So the sentence would sound like 나는 네가 앉은 의자를 좋아해요. 나는 네가 앉은 의자를 좋아해요. I like, 나는 좋아해요, the chair that you're sitting at. 네가 앉은 의자. So the subject of the sentence is I. I'm doing the action, but the topic of the sentence is you who is sitting on the chair, onto which the main action falls onto, me liking that chair. Does that make sense, guys? I really hope it does. Of course, there is a lot of ways to use 이가 particles, the topic marking particles, or the 는 particles in Korean. I won't be able to cover all of them. I did make videos trying to explain the difference between the two, so do check them out right here. Hope that's the right corner. So yeah, if you have any questions, do leave them in the comments. If you have any suggestions of what I should talk about in the next episode, or song suggestions for K-pop lyrics breakdown, do also put them in the comment section. I will read through them and I will take your suggestion into consideration. Hope this was helpful. Hope you guys are gonna have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next week. Bye! 안녕!